Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer in that order. Welcome everyone. If you are rolling regular, you are in the right spot. Gonna jump right in after I mention that this week's list is brought to you by Greg Morris Cards. More on them coming up in just a bit. First one sent in by Michael, who wrote, "This was a listing that I saw that immediately raised red flags. The starting price for a 1933 Gaudy Babe Ruth at $2. The card isn't in a card protector of any sort. It's not authenticated. Comes with regular shipping. There's no close-ups of the card. And under card specifics, it does not say that it is an original. It ended up selling for over $1,300. That's just lost money, right? Yeah, absolutely. This is 100% a fake. I can tell very clearly from the front of the card and also on the back. This is definitely a fake. You know, basically 99% of all raw copies of a 1933 Babe Ruth at this point are going to be fakes. All original copies are, for the most part, in graded holders by now. There's going to be exceptions once in a while, but those are going to be when you come across like a collection and there's a whole bunch of 33 Gaudis and it's all one person's and it was all in an attic type of thing. An individual Babe Ruth card, 99% of the time from 1933 Gaudi, it's going to be a fake, and you should go in. Everyone should sort of understand that going in, and never buy a raw copy of this card like this unless they're, you know, it really comes from a credible story and source. I had this one for $1,300, and that's just, well, this will go to the eBay Authenticity Guarantee Program, and this will not pass since they put 1933 Gaudy Babe Ruth in the title, so this will not pass. The buyer will get refunded, and the seller will, you know, get the card back, and the sale here will not go through. So that's one good thing for sure about the eBay Authenticity Guarantee Program. Next one was sent in by Evan, who wrote, "I went to a card show this past week for the first time in 30 years and had a lot of fun looking through cards and feeling the excitement everyone has for the hobby. I really enjoy collecting celebrity autos from actors I watched as a kid. I found one such auto at a card show. It was of Andreas Katsoulas, who passed away in 2006. Even though he was a classically trained actor and had been in a lot of productions, movies, and shows, I'll always remember from his role as Jakar on Babylon 5. All his auto cards consistently get posted on eBay for $40 and up, and that doesn't include shipping. Being apart from the main cast, Babylon 5 cards go particularly high prices, so when I saw a Star Trek card of his at $35, I had to jump on it. The top loader and the seller had it in, looked pretty scuffed, and I could tell he'd been traveling with the card for a while, so I offered $30. Figured he'd be glad to finally get something for it. He accepted, and now I have a fantastic card auto. eBay is great and all, but the shipping fee can be an absolute killer. I'm thinking card shows might actually be the way to go. I can typically find one or two a month in my area, so there's no shipping, and most of the time taxes built into the price." Next one is sent in by Eli, who wrote, "I was able to get a great deal on a 90s basketball insert because it was in a slab of a defunct grading company that never had much traction. The card is a 97 Stadium Club Triumvirate Luminous Gary Payton. There's a famous Michael Jordan insert in this set that goes for almost $1,000 in high grade. This card is an AG9, and I got it for $21, including shipping. For reference, an ungraded copy from ComC sold about a month earlier for $30 with shipping. At PSA, there are only 5 graded. They're all graded 9s. I considered cracking it and sending it to PSA, but I think I'm content with its current slab. It shows how some of the upstart companies can actually end up decreasing the value of your cards." Yeah, that's totally true. Some of these companies, they don't add value, and they can even decrease value to your card just because people don't want them in these no-name grading companies. But another thing I just want to add real quick is, like I mentioned before, 1990s is the most creative design of sports cards ever, I think, especially the late 1990s. Look at the die cut on this thing. Crazy right border, and then you got electricity die cuts throughout, or I don't even know what you would call it, throughout the card. Pretty cool. This was sent in by RJ Collects Sets, where I love box sets, those sets from the Topps and Fleer all through the 80s and 90s. 33 or 44 cards, mostly containing stars and Hall of Famers. 1982 Kmart was the first, so I decided to go for the PSA set registry version, going for all PSA 10s, but they can be hard to find. There have always been a couple cards of the Mickey Mantle version available on eBay since I started this journey, but knowing that the set itself was worth about $5, I felt for sure that this list prices was just way too high, and I was right. One was listed for auction recently starting at 99 cents. I knew I was willing to pay a high price, but nowhere near $9,500. I ended up winning it for $127 or $140 all in, but this really shows you how stupid or greedy some sellers can be, or maybe how gullible or ignorant some buyers can be. Does that guy really believe that this card is worth almost $10,000? Yeah, this is one of the very annoying aspects of eBay. I mean, obviously this is, their card. They can ask whatever price they want for it. But, it sure feels like in this case and many such cases are, trying to find an ignorant buyer and trick them into way overpaying for a card that's not worth anywhere near this. But, well done on your part to, see this listing but not fall for it. And even though this is a very, very rare card in a PSA 10, it doesn't mean that it's, a borderline five-figure card. So well done there. And I think you got it for a nice price at $140. Next one was sent by Mason, who wrote, I've only collected baseball cards so far in my hobby life, but as a Denver Broncos fan, I decided to check out Von Miller rookie cards out of curiosity. To my surprise, I was able to purchase his 2011 Topps Rookie Gold Parallel, numbered to 2011, for only $10. This price seems insane to me. Von Miller is likely a Hall of Famer, a Super Bowl MVP, and one of the best defensive players of the 2010s. The Gold Parallel isn't the lowest numbered card, but it has a history and recognizability that makes it a desired parallel for collectors. I could not believe how low the price for such a card was, and I think that $10 is a great price to pay to add my first football card to my collection. Totally agree, and I've mentioned it a few times on here. With football is different than the other sports in that it's just quarterback is king, and that's sort of it. If you collect somebody who's not a quarterback, you can get amazing cards for not a lot of money, and this is a great example. This is Von Miller's Topps flagship rookie, but the gold parallel, a very popular parallel. Von Miller is a no-brainer first ballot, future first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest defensive players of his generation, and like you said, Super Bowl MVP. I mean, this guy he's a significant name in football history, and this is a key rookie card of his. $10. If this was a quarterback, this would probably be multiple hundreds of dollars. So yeah, if football, there you go. If you can just dodge the quarterbacks, you can get a lot of bang for your buck. This was sent by Thomas, who wrote, always interested in discussion around strange lot questions or whether to buy on blind faith versus err on the side of caution and pass. Also interested in the ongoing ethical questions of honest versus dishonest listings. I ran across this listing on Saturday and had a series of odd back and forth discussions with the seller before he finally just canceled the auction, saying that had an error in it. Would love your thoughts. My initial search of the lot revealed a few really obvious facts. Lots of reprints and commemorative cards without the seller saying a word about it. The few cards that appeared genuine original seemed less vintage and more junk wax, like an 87 Topps Pete Rose, and really not a lot of obvious value that I could see, which explained the fact that no one was bidding. Would love your thoughts. So I looked over this lot, and yeah, this is an interesting one. I'm not really 100% sure where I fall on it. He's provided a lot of pictures, and it's just like you said, all the vintage cards look to be reprints, but they're not like fakes. They're legit reprints, like Topps commemorative cards or Topps official reprints that you can pull out of packs. These are all legit cards. There's nothing wrong with the cards themselves. They're just not the original big money cards from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He doesn't say anything in the listing like, oh, there's a 54 Ernie Banks rookie or there's a 1956 Topps Jackie Robinson. He just says there's 500 trading cards with Hall of Famers and some vintage, and that's exactly what it is. So, my first feeling is this listing is actually okay. I would definitely prefer that he mentioned, some of the cards are commemoratives or official reprints, but I personally don't feel like the seller's done anything really wrong here. But curious to hear other people's opinion. Do you feel there was anything intentionally misleading done here, or even unintentionally misleading that needs clarification, or do you feel the seller's fine here? From a buyer's perspective, I would, if you're looking to like hit it big here, I would advise against taking a gamble on a lot like this. It's pretty clear that, to me at least, that the cards that would be big money are all commemorative or reprint cards. And but from a collector's standpoint, $45, that's a perfectly reasonable starting price. You get 500 cards here. That's 10 cents a card. $45 is a very fair price. This was sent in by David, who wrote, I'm not in a position to be able to afford a copy of the Bird Magic rookie, but when I saw this auction ending soon and the relative low price, I thought it was worth bidding on. I put in a max bid of $35 and I still thought it would be way under what it ended up selling for, but given the relatively short ending period, I didn't check comps. In the end, I won the card for $34 plus $3 shipping, and I now own a Larry Bird rookie card. Interesting, the card also features another Hall of Famer in Jack Sikma. The card is off-center but looks really clean and is perfect for my PC. I love to collect affordable, mid-grade Hall of Fame, all-time great cards in basketball, baseball, and football. Interesting to think that this card can be picked up in mid-grade for just $30 to $50, and the Bird Magic version in a PSA 6 would be approximately $750. Quite the difference. Anyway, thought I would share in case there was any other basketball fans out there thinking they would never be able to afford a true Larry Bird rookie. Turns out maybe you can. Next up is a cool hockey card, a 1980 Topps Jim Craig, and a really annoying thing Topps did in their 1980 hockey set is you had to scratch off to see the name. The player name wasn't revealed on the front nor anywhere on the back, and of course today it's more valuable to have the card unscratched, but that means if you're not a big hockey fan, you often don't know who the card is of. But anyway, Jim Craig only played 30 games in the NHL, but he was the goalie on the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team, which won the gold medal, beating Russia along the way in what Wikipedia describes as widely considered one of the greatest upsets in sports history. Here's the legendary call from Al Michaels as the game was ending.
11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
The 2004 movie Miracle was based on that game. The whole game is known as the Miracle on Ice, but very cool historic card. But anyway, I was the seller here, and I sold the card through Greg Morris Cards, who, as I mentioned, is sponsoring this episode. They're one of the premier sellers of sports cards on eBay, especially raw vintage, as they've proven to be extremely strict but very accurate graders. If they state a card is near mint, you can rest assured that it will arrive near mint. They've started a YouTube channel that does a lot of sports card history content. A recent video was the story behind the famous 1990 score Bo Jackson football baseball card. Highly recommend you check out their inventory and YouTube channel. I've included links to both in the description below. Next was sent in by Chris, who wrote, my favorite cards to collector from 1996 to 1999. I saw a 6-card PSA lot of Ron Mercer with multiple Atomic Refractor rookies, and the listing was at $10. For those who don't know, Ron Mercer was the 6th pick in the 97 NBA draft by the Boston Celtics. He was one of the top rookies to get if you collected that year, but he didn't really live up to expectations, although he had a decent 8-year career. When I opened the listings and looked at the pictures, I saw 4 Atomic Refractor PSA 10s. Knowing those should have have some value and are pretty rare, I went to PSA to look at the pop report. The pop report showed it's just a pop 3. Well, how does this listing have 4? They all have the same wording in the PSA label, different serial numbers. I didn't win the auction as I didn't want these cards that badly, but what a bizarre thing to come across. Something that I hope doesn't become a trend as we all rely on these pop reports being accurate. Curious as to what you think. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I went ahead and put in the serial number into the PSA certification on the website for each of the 4 cards. And it looks like PSA accidentally marked one of the Atomic Refractors as just the regular refractor. It's the one on the card in the upper left here is just shown on the pop report as a regular refractor. So I think this actually actually a pop 4, and these are the 4 in existence. The pop report shows a pop 3, but yeah, it should be a pop 4. This was sent in by Scott, who wrote, in the late 70s, my father was working with an electrical engineering firm from Japan. After seeing that I collected baseball cards, the engineer sent me 2 packs of Japanese baseball cards once he returned to Japan. At the time, the only player in the packs I recognized was Sadahara O. Fast forward to a few years ago, and I've really expanded my Sadahara O collection. I wanted to get a hold of 2 cards of O, one that included relics of his windbreaker and the other of his jersey. These were issued as part of a limited edition set of 54 cards. The set includes a relic card from both windbreaker and jersey cards, as well as a film card. The set was limited to 2,000. These do not come up for sale very often and usually are sold separate from the rest of the set. One windbreaker card is currently for sale with a buy it now on eBay for $362. Recently, an unopened complete set showed up on my eBay watch list. I jumped at it and purchased the complete set for $256, including shipping. I was able to pick up the complete set that not only includes both the Sadahara O cards with the windbreaker and jersey, but the same 2 cards for Shigeo Nagashima, the 2 film cards, as well as the other 48 cards, and the beautiful collector's box the set came in. This was sent in by Jason. I think I showed this card a few weeks ago, but it is worthy of multiple appearances on the regular rollers. Jason wrote, I've always wanted the 1966 league leader card of Aaron, Mays, and Clemente. For whatever reason, I never got one, and then they became way overpriced since 2020. I found this one on eBay in a BCCG holder. I know their grades are not representative of what PSA or SGC would be, but for me, I know it's authentic, and it looks like a really nice card, especially for the price. This is a classic case of buy the card, not the holder. Yeah, I really like your thinking here, and yeah, BCCG is not a very good grading company, but a BCCG 8, you know it's legit, it's Beckett, and this probably equates to like a PSA 4 or 5, and even in that grade, for the price here, you did really well, so I like your thinking. And this card, you know, I've talked about it before, probably the all-time star power on one card in sports card history, if not number 1, certainly top, that might make a good countdown video for the channel soon. And I'll finish on a vintage bargain. This is another League Leaders cards in our second hockey listing of the week for all you hockey fans out there. This was sent in by Graham, who wrote, here's a 1975 OPC NHL Scoring Leaders card featuring Bobby Orr, Phil Esposito, and Marcel Dion. One of the very underappreciated League Leader cards that give you a lot of star power for your buck. What's extra special about this card is the Bobby Orr was a defenseman, and he led the league in points. This is one of the most remarkable feats in hockey history, accomplished only twice, both times by Orr. It's hard to contextualize how significant this accomplishment is. I'd say it's like a pitcher leading the major leagues in home runs or a quarterback leading the NFL in rushing yards. I find it very hard to believe this will ever happen again, and this card features perhaps the most outstanding single season by an athlete ever, although I guess Bob Gibson in 1968 would probably like a word. There you go, $10 for that piece of hockey history. I would definitely call that a vintage bargain. But that's it. Thank you everyone for watching this week's Regular Rollers. Stay regular, and I will see you all again real soon. Thanks everyone.